The kids all laughed. Katie and Amanda thought it was very funny. Suddenly, Slappy's voice changed.
Don't you want to kiss me? Well, I don't want to kiss you either. Here's a riddle for you, Jimmy.
He growled. His voice came out gruff and hoarse.
What's the difference between a skunk and your breath?
I don't know, Jimmy stammered.
I don't know either.
Slappy barked.
Also,
kids in
you're
the
a
audience.
fucking moron. Sorry.
You can't scare me. Not with the basement of botany. Maybe a sentient dummy. Calling all creeps.
Boo, dudes. Welcome back to Calling All Creeps. I'm your host, Michael Myers, and I'm here with Mike Myers.
Check me, baby.
Hell yeah. See, you know that you're the Austin Powers because you're breezy, folksy Mike, whereas I, the more formal Michael, am a murderer, like humanoid alien guy. I don't know what his real deal is, but...
Meanwhile, I'm a Shrek too.
You're
Deep
Shrek
down,
too.
But not a love guru. That's a little racist.
You know, since a lot has happened, Dave, since we went on a little hiatus from our beloved podcast. And one of the things I'm happy to report that has happened between now and then is that my wife and I have sat down to watch both Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. As
is
adults.
Shrek 2 called Shrek 2? Or does it have a fun name?
No, it's Shrek 2. They started to get fun. There's like Shrek Happily Ever After is a thing.
Yeah.
Shrek the Third. They kind of switched it up there.
I heard that was more like Shrek the Turd. Because it was a shitty movie.
It's funny you say that. We didn't bother because it seemed like the fix was in on that one. Nobody liked it. Didn't live up to Shrek's 1 and 2.
DreamWorks, it is DreamWorks, right?
It is.
Yeah, they do that shit where they have these like, they're like, we have the assets, we might as well just make a holiday Netflix special of Shrek.
Yeah.
It's like Shrek's Onion Hanukkah, and they do like little shorts and stuff.
The
where, like,
Onion, that's right.
Yeah, he'll like fuck one of the Toy Story penguins or some shit. Like,
He did
like,
fuck
are those
the Onion.
canon?
Yeah. Yeah, and we all know the only acceptable like cartoony holiday movies for kids are Christmas Carol, Muppets Christmas Carol.
It's legit.
So like holiday specials, and also Garfield holidays like Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Halloween's the best one. Actually, they're in that order. It's like no, I think Halloween's my favorite, then Christmas, then Thanksgiving. Anyway, Dave, what's new with you?
You know, a lot of stuff's happened this week alone. I was gonna count how many poops I took, but I already lost count. How was your week?
It is good. Thank you for asking. Nothing has changed in my life. Some people might think that's a good thing. Some bad.
I've been reading books that I want to. You're very gassy. That's a new thing,
Dude, I'm drinking this LaCroix. It is destroying me. The LaCroix for the boys, really tearing up the old pipes.
Well, I think you're a LaJoy just to spend time with and do this again.
That's very sweet.
I've been reading like whatever I want at night.
Yeah.
And that's been a treat.
Same. I was noticing that today, and well, in the past 2 days. So we read this book for this episode, and I did notice now. You would think we had a break, and it's for us, long time coming, well deserved. We've done enough of these at this point, and you would think after all that time, I'd be like, oh yeah, this. I'd look back and think like, this is nice. I kind of miss this a little bit. I don't at all. It really it detracted from what I wanted to do, which is read actual books. Which I'm happy to report, is a pretty recent thing for me to read what I want. In the past couple months, I've been burning up the pages, Dave.
When you said long time coming, do you mean distance? Or it's just we just
Oh,
keep
you're
coming?
you're so lucky that we're recording this in October and not November.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, it would be No Nut November, where it all started before we branched out to a full year.
For those who haven't listened to our entire podcast, what are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here. This isn't for you. But by the way, happy Halloween, everyone.
Hey, happy
We're
Halloween.
here for Halloween.
That's right. That brought us back from the grave. I don't know.
We're ghosts.
I feel very scary. I'm completely a ghost except for where my little ass is and where my little wiener hangs out. That's where I'm still a boy.
Well, at least we figured out how to do the beginning again. I was nervous for the other part.
Yeah, I was thinking about today about this podcast and how like the chief complaint is like people come to it for a Goosebumps podcast and it's mostly about like farting and shitting.
Yeah. By the way, just for the crowd, not for me, how's your butthole been?
Good. Thank you for asking. Yeah,
Good.
I still struggle with the fiber sometimes. It's real hard to get the fiber that you need in your diet, but otherwise, yeah, I can't complain. I'm just cautious, I'm like, keep an eye on your butthole health, everybody.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
100 episodes ago. And listen back. Bad hair day. So we took the new 62 books, the original 62, picked them up, slapped them in its goddamn face, kicked them in the nads, threw them in a dumpster.
Yeah. Many said it was the best, most insightful, effective breakdown of the Goosebumps series of all time. I saw a lot of headlines about our podcast, like retrospective evaluations. A lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, BuzzFeed had a quiz about the podcast. It said, which Dave are you? No matter what you answer, it's always the stinky one. I don't know.
Yeah, there was, I think I saw a quiz that was like, which butthole, which of Matt's buttholes are you? Are you healthy and waxed, or are you haggard and hairy? And for you Harry
You're a
Potter
wizard, Harry.
fans, I didn't say Hagrid and Harry.
You did.
I did.
You did. But yeah, this is a Goosebumps 2000 book.
Yeah, although, we talked a little bit about this. I have the reprint, and they saw it fit to reprint this one, and they just present it as its own kind of thing. It just says, it doesn't say Goosebumps 2000, it just says Goosebumps, Bride of the Living Dummy. Inside, you will see a rundown of most of the Goosebumps books. I guess these are the ones that were reprinted, Dave. What do you think? The ones inside?
I guess, yeah, I think so.
And then it has Most Wanted series and Slappy World. And, our boy is really dipping his quill into a lot of ink pools. I don't know what the fuck.
Well, he's got the Beyond or whatever. The
Yes,
thing we went
Just
and
Beyond.
saw. Just Beyond is getting a series. Goosebumps is still getting a series.
It is, yeah.
Huge reception from Fear Street on Netflix.
Fear Street's great. I love it.
He's on top. He's on top right now.
Yep.
There was an article that just came out. I screen capped it. Who the fuck wrote it? Oh, New York Times. Why we need Goosebumps more than ever.
Are we in that article?
Probably not.
We're the
I
focus,
didn't
fucking.
even read it. I just took a screenshot of the tweet. Yeah, so Goosebumps 2000 was the series leading up directly after, cut short, ended Goosebumps altogether for a little bit. I took a deep dive into that, which was kind of interesting. I know we do our time and place.
Yeah.
I guess this is part of that. Here's a quick time and place. We'll do that first. We got to get that out of the way.
Sure.
I forgot all about this until like 1 a.m. last night, where I was like, fuck. Forgot this is shit I have to do. Luckily for me, when I wanted to see all of the top movies for that month, turns out there was only one. Titanic.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is February of 1998. Titanic was actually the longest consecutive #1 film for 15 weeks at that time, and the first film to hit $1 billion.
Nice. I love it.
And in the highest grossing films as of 2020, and being adjusted for inflation. At first I was like, I need to find the 2021 one. Then I realized, oh yeah, movies have been canceled for a year.
Yeah, it's tough right now.
So with inflation, Titanic is number 3. But inflation-wise, if it goes by the actual dollar, #1's Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
2, Avatar. Never seen it. Didn't take my money. Number 3, Titanic. Loved the boot part as a kid.
Boot
Loved
part
it.
was great. Yep.
Yeah. Draw me wearing only this. And I'm like, sorry, my hands aren't free.
Not old enough to produce semen yet, but
Yeah. Just kind of dribbled out. Number 4, Star Wars. A New Hope. Pretty cool.
Okay.
Number 5, crazy Avengers Endgame.
okay.
Because the crazy thing is that these, like Gone with the Wind, it's just like, back then they had one movie.
Yeah, and one
That's
movie
all you
theater.
could see.
Everyone from across the U.S. went to Ohio.
Yeah, and everybody like dated that girl in college that was just like, you have to see this. And you had to go, and the only one they had at fucking Borders was like $35. And it wasn't even it was in black and white and shit. Yeah. So that's Titanic, the boob movie where everyone, it sent Leo up into stardom. Music, we had Together Again by Janet Jackson. Don't know that one.
I don't know it either.
Nice and Slow by Usher.
Okay.
And My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Titanic
course.
wins music too.
Of
Fucking wins music
course.
too. It's bullshit. February 7th, the Nagano, Japan Winter Olympics begin. I just remember because I think there was like an N64 game of like the Nagano Olympics. And I was like, well, that's fucking boring. On February 10th, AOL raised its monthly flat rate internet access from $19.95 to $21.95.
Oof. A little rich for my blood.
And I was thinking, like, in my head, like, that's expensive. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm thinking about it for, like, Netflix and all the other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
now, what's, like, the general just internet? I'd say you're paying 60 to 70. Is that fair?
I think you're spot on. I think if you you're going to lock in for a couple years, and it's going to be an introductory price only, and it'll be, $70.
And here's a tip. Buy your own router. Because they charge you monthly for that, $15. And the router they give you is
Less than $100
like-
bucks.
way less than $100.
Yeah.
It's basically they take a bunch of screws, they slam it in like an old fucking like PS2 or some shit
Yeah.
and mail it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks shit. Let's go to Target and buy one, you idiot. On February 24th, Elton John gets knighted. And that means to me he probably has a sword on him at all times. And I bet he's cut off witches' heads and cool shit like that. And I'd love to hear about his adventures.
He seems like the type.
Yeah. He pulled his Excalibur from the Crocodile Rock.
Well played.
But he was too sad to be a knight because his best friend, the princess... we won't get to that. She got a Beanie Baby. Goosebumps 2000. Started in 1998. Liar.
Very futuristic.
The way they could get around that is by this tagline. And I want to know if they're liars, Matt. Tell me if you read this when you read it.
Okay.
These books are 2,000 times scarier than the originals.
So, no, for sure not. But I do think this went places that the original series might have flirted with, but never really committed. And I think, I mean, we talked a little bit about this off mic, Dave, but we both like this book. And I think that's one of the reasons is it was a little scarier, I would say, on the whole, to be fair.
But 2,000 times?
No.
Throw out a number. How many times?
2. 1.
Yeah. I was gonna say 2 times is pretty fair. 2 times is scary. Maybe 3 on a good day.
Yeah, I would say twice,
depending on the
maybe
book.
twice is scary at best. Really, just like there's a scene that like is kind of more interesting than scary and funnier than it is scary. But I could also make the argument that it was a little scarier.
I had some chills.
Yeah,
And thrills.
and thrills.
Yeah, so originally R.L. Stine was contracted for 40 books, but only wrote 25 of them.
Yeah.
And that's all due, we kind of went into this, but it's all due to the legal battles between Scholastic and Parachute Press. And in the end, Stine did not renew his contract in the year 2000. It was let expire, and the series abruptly came to an end. The issue was between Parachute and Scholastic, and it came down to profit and a few different things. Goosebumps was losing its steam in the end of the 90s, and they were each blaming each other. Scholastic claimed that R.L. Stine had breached his contract because Parachute had hired him ghostwriters and people to help write these books.
Yes.
We talked about this. Of course, they say that the original story was all R.L. Stine's. He basically put all the work in, and they just had people touch stuff up and like help and put it out. That's R.L. Stine's word.
Yeah.
But the contract said everything was all R.L. Stine, so they were like, they're saying this is not R.L. Stine books. That's why kids hate them now, and that's why we're suing you. Meanwhile, Parachute said that Scholastic was mismanaging the franchise and not letting them market it correctly, and that was a loss of income for them. This is what I learned. You just think 2 nameless companies, like whatever, big corporate whatever, fighting each other. Do you know the names of the 2 people who ran Parachute Books?
The Dixie Chicks. Wait. The Chicks.
Joan Waricha.
Okay.
And someone we met. Jane Stine.
Jane Stine. Wait, she was in charge of which company?
Parachute.
Of Parachute. Okay.
So basically, R.L. Stine's wife was his manager and running that publishing company, so it was basically
very
R.L.
funny.
Stine's private company.
Yeah. Yeah, they were both just reaping enormous amounts of profit.
So this whole time, I thought it was these 2 generic book companies fighting each other. It turns out the Scholastic Book Fair was at war with R.L. Stine's wife. The lady who he said fuck to when we saw them live in person.
Yes.
There's a meme we made of them where we took a photo of them at the live book event, and we said, "This could be us, but you playing."
Oh, yeah, that's right. I like Jane. Jane.
Me too.
She is the one when I approached RL and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Stein," and but I didn't even say his name. I just started talking. Jane tapped him on the shoulder because he wasn't paying attention, and said, "Like this strange small boy is trying to speak with you." And only then did he notice me, and so I'm grateful to Jane for that, because then we got to have a little exchange. The exchange was me being complimentary and him saying thanks.
Well, also we showed him our logo, and he said, "Calling all creeps."
Calling all creeps.
I think Jane's not at fault. Basically, she was just trying to support her husband and get him help, make sure everything and his contracts were working well. And but because of this falling out, the 2000 book series never ended, and the movies that were in talks all died. Most notably between the Tim Burton joint that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And God, what was the other one?
The other director?
Yeah, and then George Romero was supposed to do a Welcome to Dead house.
Shit.
Night of the Living Dead. That was uncovered recently, but all of the movies were basically put on hold. On top of that, they didn't renew the contract, so Goosebumps basically was dead. Could not be reprinted. Done. until Scholastic agreed to purchase the rights to Goosebumps for $9.65 million in 2003.
Wild.
And this decision made those reprints that I read from for the whole series.
Yeah. I mean, that is a shit ton of money, obviously, but as like franchises go and like, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just ownership of this property. I mean, it's a fucking cash hound. It's it's going to keep generating money. They're making all these movies and stuff. Like, it's a good move. Like 10 million is like actually not that bad considering like what people pay for, I don't know. Like what's like Marvel worth? Not that this is that scale, but everybody knows what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, even Jane Stein at the end said, I'm happy with the way things turned out and excited about the future. And they were all part of it going forward. So I think it wasn't as much like a knockout, drag out like fight, but it was fine.
I want to edit myself in real time. I said cash hound, which is not real. It doesn't exist. I meant cash cow. Carry on, Dave.
And I was also Googling when you're talking about like Marvel. So Walt Disney Company purchased Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion. So if that,
there you go. So
then again, it's a big difference.
It is.
You're getting a lot of iconic characters instead of like Slappy,
the hamster.
Mask. Oh yeah, the hamster. Who else was on?
Who has a name that we should know, and yet I don't remember.
I don't know these books. Different things about this story. Notably, Slappy's design was changed. He was wearing a red and white checkered blazer in the book, but they edited that out to make him seem more like the movie, the one that was recently printed that you've read.
I like Ska Slappy.
Me too.
Seems cool.
Yeah, because it's like if you see a dummy on the ground, you got to do your act. You should pick him up. Pick him up.
Yeah.
There's also a bunch of scenes of violence in the original that were edited out.
Yes. I read about this.
Yeah. There's a lot of domestic abuse that we'll talk about as we go on. Something interesting is Slappy reprises his puking green slime trick, which is what I thought and wrote in my notes, but realized that's just a cool dummy trick because Mr. Wood was the one who actually did that in the original book.
Lest we forget that Slappy is not the star of Night of the Living Dummy. It is Mr. Wood, in fact.
And also, it's unclear when this book takes place because one of the last Goosebumps 2000s book is called Slappy's Nightmare. And in that book, he is the property of Jimmy O. James and still doing the act with him. So it's very... That of course, is book 23. And this book that we're reading now is one of the 2000 books to have an episode, Cry of the Cat. And it's kind of cute that this episode aired on Valentine's Day.
It's very sweet. I like it.
And that's all my notes. Now we can just fucking burn through this plot.
Sorry, Dave, I have to interrupt because Adobe wants me to upgrade it or some shit like that. Hold on.
Is it Flash? Because that's done now. They don't do that no more.
I don't know what it is. I don't even know what on here is Adobe. It doesn't matter. Okay. Yes, this is a book that we've read. And what do we do here? We talk about the plot, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So we're going to make this nice and brief for you. Coming in with the classics, our classic catchphrases. We're going to make this real short. 3 hours later. This is a story all about how this is about a girl. Her name is Jillian. Am I right on that? Yes.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Jillian is a young lady who has two sisters, Katie and Frady.
Amanda.
And Katie and Amanda are twins, and they're 6 years old. And right off the bat, we have a dummy in the mix, but it is Now, if you are a ventriloquist dummy and you're made of wood and you're sentient and you're listening to this, close your ears because you're going to get too horny to continue listening. But they have a doll that they love. It's named Mary Ellen. It's a huge doll, and I'm reading now from the book, almost as tall as the twins. She has frizzy brown hair made out of mop yarn, a red, heart-shaped mouth twisted up in a sick grin. Strange violet-colored glass eyes and ugly blood-red circles painted on her round cheeks. Above the cheeks, which are butt cheeks, by the way, this is what it says in the book, it has written, slappy insert here, period. I don't know what that means.
That's a little much.
Oh, boy.
This is what we meant by
Is
the
this
2,000
this is what
times
you're
scarier.
talking about, right? Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, they have this doll, and they love it, and Jillian hates it. She thinks it sucks. You know what Jillian loves, though, Dave?
Lizards.
Lizards. And she has a cute little lizard boy, and his name's Petey.
I love that little guy.
And Petey, he's a sweetie. And he loves eating little flies and worms and whatnot. And I don't know. The beginning of this book is like Jillian threatening the doll a bunch.
Yeah, and the doll telling the sisters, like, hey, Mary Ellen said we should cut your hair.
Yes. Yeah.
And they threaten to she threatens to chop off Mary Ellen's head.
Yeah.
There's a good R.L. Stein trope in the beginning. Sometimes Dad calls me Noodle because I'm so thin and straight.
Yeah.
Guess how much I like that?
Not much.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah. I would just, that's what I put my money on.
Yeah, but it all kind of comes to a head when they have to go to the little theater.
Yes.
And that's where they meet Portia de Rossi.
She's there? Is Ellen there?
Yeah, she's in it. And then they say, hey, what's the name of your doll, little girls? And they say, Mary Ellen. And she goes, okay.
Oh, Dave, I think we're back.
I wonder how many people understood that joke.
It was good. It was really good. What can you say?
All right. Those are all the notes I have.
All downhill from here.
It's all downhill. Yeah, there's a ventriloquist act, and you got to go to the abandoned theater where they let kids go now.
Yeah, that's right. And they're psyched up to watch a ventriloquist act. Jillian is also obsessed with dummies. I mean, not dummies, clowns.
Yeah, that's her aspiration in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my scary things mixed up. Yeah, clowns. Sorry.
No, it is clowns. And actually, one of the 15 books that were cut was How I Became the Joker, which is the sequel to this.
Which, a lot of people are using as like a weird libertarian icon. I don't know what that, people just really like that book, I guess. Yeah, and Jillian meets up with her friend Harrison. Cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Ford.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Beetle. The Beetle. Making
Harrison.
What?
Harrison Bale?
Beetle.
Oh, I was like, you mean Christian Bale?
You couldn't understand my perfect accent? Right away, offending the whole island of the United Kingdom. And Harrison is there with Jillian, and they're psyched up to watch this ventriloquist act. One thing I like about Harrison is like he's very chill, and like his key personality trait is that he finds everything cool to the point where it's annoying, which sounds like just like a fun guy, kind of.
He kind of sounds like somebody I know, and it just like somebody we know. Reminds me of our buddy Adam.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Where like you'd be like, "Hey dude, look at this rock," and you'd be like, "Oh, sick!" Like for most of this book, I feel like we're seeing it through Jillian's eyes, and she just fucking sucks.
Yeah, she does.
Like she's stupid and an idiot, and but also she's like a teenager. So, I mean, there was no Fortnite yet, so all she could do was just judge the world
Yeah.
before she knew neat TikTok dances to do.
And pray to wake up a clown.
Yeah.
But the thing about the ventriloquist act is it's kind of like aggressive, I guess you would say.
Yeah. And also, like, Slappy does his tricks and his things where he's just like, you call that a dick? Like, and like, ah!
You're an
then-
embarrassment.
He like taunts, he like yells out at Amanda and Katie during the act.
Oh,
he's just like,
yeah.
you little girls, you were fucking dumb. And they're like, and the whole act, they just cross their arms and stare up. They're like, you motherfucker.
You
Like,
motherfucker.
you motherfucker.
Yeah, because they work their way away from Jillian and like go toward the stage, so they're kind of like front and center. Yeah, and so they get dunked on, and Jillian is a little like freaked out by it because it just seems weird. Because Jimmy, who is the ventriloquist, is like scared. He's acting scared of the dummy, and so it's concerning. And the girls, go ahead.
Good joke.
Yeah.
Good. This is a good Slappy joke. Slappy threw back his head and let out, oh no, is that the one? He called him the gruesome twosome, which just makes me think of Charlie. And it's from Always Sunny. He's like, gruesome twosome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he says that they're twins. I bet you share everything, don't you? Slappy said to my sisters. Which one of you is using the brain today?
I mean, it's good.
It's a great way to call a 6-year-old fucking dumb.
It's good. Honestly, I think Slappy is like has pretty good chops. Like I always enjoy it because I know it's RL. Like RL gets to like just before he has to write this scene and cracks his knuckles in an exaggerated way and goes like, "Here I go, baby, my time to shine."
Anytime he's seen like a stupid kid at a signing, he takes out a little notebook and starts writing.
Yeah, because
And this is when he breaks it out.
it combines his two passions, which is like hating to have to be around kids all the time and writing jokes, Jovial Bob style.
Yeah. And if you go back to our last episode, our final episode, we read some of those jokes.
That's right.
They're not as good as these.
No, they are decidedly worse.
They're very bad.
Yeah.
But
So is this podcast, so it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the girls are very disobedient, and they like run backstage or something, and Jillian has lost them essentially at this point. So she's trying to find them. She's going all around. She goes backstage at one point, and she sees what she thinks is the dummy talking to Jimmy because she hears a voice, and she sees she's facing Jimmy, and sort of like the back of Slappy. So it's a confusing thing, but Jimmy brushes it off and he says, no, he's not alive. Which I think actually he literally says, like, don't worry, he's not alive or something.
But also in that scene, like, Slappy is just being extremely demeaning and fucking backhands him. And when she walks in, he's bleeding from his nose. Like, it's like, I think his nose is broken.
That's a very important point, actually. And that sets the tone for this book. This is why we say it could be like, 2 times scarier, is because Slappy's not fucking around. He wants to fight.
Yeah. Like he calls like little girls idiots, then he goes in the back and breaks a man's nose.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's like, this is setting the table for what's to come, basically. So they find each other, of course. And I think when she gets home, she and Harrison like part ways at some point when she's like in this frenzy looking for the girls. And when she gets home, after they get ice cream, I think. And
Slappy's just on their couch.
Yes, Slappy's just there. And Jillian, who was freaked out by the act, is not a fan of this and says, like, what is this? And why is it in my home? And Harrison shows up, I think.
Yeah, Harrison brought it there.
And
because he's just like, hey, I was doing my normal thing, eating out of the trash, and I found this. I don't know why he's Harrison. They're probably like, hey, there's a dumpster, and he's like, oh, need trash, and like.
Reminder that Harrison thinks everything's cool. So he saw the trash.
Everything's cool,
and he was like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, fuck yeah, trash dummy, love this shit.
Sick.
Yeah.
And,
we already know that dummy had a fucking sandwich in its head forever.
yeah,
So,
you don't want to fuck around with that dummy.
no.
It's had a lot
It's
of
been
shit
places.
inside of it. Yeah.
I mean, this dummy at this point, imagine, it's in the dumpster, and it's probably got, like, fucking blood all over its fists.
Yeah, absolutely it does. It's got a belly full of barf ready to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she doesn't want it in the house, and Harrison's like, this is a perfectly good dummy. Like, we're not getting rid of it.
But lucky for Harrison, the girl's father is like a woodworking enthusiast, and
sure.
he's been making like a coffee table for the last 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, he's just jerking off in the basement, because they're always just like, anytime they're like, tell dad it's dinner, and he's like, don't come down here, coffee table. Like,
Coffee table.
like, there goes dad.
I'm
and it's like,
shellacking.
yeah. Yeah, so he's like, you think your dad can work on my dummy? And it's just like, yeah, when he's done with that table. That's been, he just loves that table.
He loves it. Every night he goes down there, and there's some loud noises coming from the. He's grunting a lot, and he's probably just like really sanding it down and making it look really good for us.
Yeah.
But he's nutting.
Yeah. He's,
He be nutting.
yeah. Yeah, you got a nice nut finish. It's a oak.
Oh man, that dude knows
Yeah.
how to clean his wood.
Nice chestnut he's using for.
That's right.
As in, sometimes he lays down and blows a load on his chest.
Hey, you better not bring that table around me this November.
Don't you dare!
Don't you dare!
Don't you dare!
Unless
I put
it's
a
a
beer on
maple.
it. It slid right off.
And it's not even finished yet.
Yeah. So that's what happens. Jimmy O. James, well, let's see. I've got to go through my notes now. Her dad's going to fix it. She has to plan revenge on the twins. She goes downstairs and hears a noise as she's walking downstairs that night, and Slappy's down there.
Yeah.
And she's like, ah. And then the twins were like, we did it. And she's like, whatever. So they basically go to find a new dummy, or to find, they want to find magic tricks to be clowns with, which
Yeah.
like you're a shitty clown. Clowns don't do magic.
Yeah, they because they have there's a like kid on the block is having a birthday party, and they've arranged it with the parents so that if they are clowns there and they perform, they could make $30 or whatever. So they really want that $30.
Yeah, you could buy it. It's 1998. That's like 2 Tamagotchis.
Hell yeah, baby. Yeah.
That's like half a fucking N64 game.
My two best 1999, not the year, but the price purchases with a $20 bill. Was it the same year? Probably not. But I was able to get, I remember my parents gave me a $20 bill. We went to Toys R Us. So this is perfect, right? I mean, this is like what we'd fetishize now because Toys R Us is gone. It's the 90s. You're entering Toys R Us and your parents say you have $20. You can get whatever you want, but only one thing. You know, that's the budget.
$20 then, as a kid, I'd say is like $100 now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case, because when I get $100, I'm like, oh, I gotta save this for something.
Yeah.
So I'd say like it's like $50 and other random bills where you're like, this can go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say $20 is like $65 to $70 as an adult.
It is, yeah. Interestingly, though, not with like if I wanted an N64 cartridge, it's still about the same price now as a game. Maybe $10
Depending
more
on
now.
the game.
Yeah.
Depending on the game. Some are stupid expensive.
And some eventually were like the $39.99 ones. I remember like Mario Kart and Golden, like the hits, the greatest hits ones went down to $40. Anyway,
The classics, yeah.
I digress. I had $20 at Toys R Us, and instead of a toy, I got from an end cap. They had Goosebumps sheets for my twin bed. And ooh, baby, I bought those right up. They were so uncomfortable. And everybody knows which ones they were because I think they only made the ones. And they're like the purpley ones with the spider webs and the G and all that shit. And Curly's on there. So is the, what's the hamster's name?
Cuddles.
Cuddles. I was gonna say mittens. And then this.
Well, those sheets are perfect for a growing boy. They already have the splatters all over.
That's right.
But so when we would go on vacation over the summer, my mom would bring like random sheets for the whatever, like because we'd rent out these like tiny little houses and have to like, sleep on couches or whatever. So we'd have old sheets, and there's something about those old comforters, those like kids comforters. After they've been washed so much, it's that scratchy material.
Yes.
It's like a comforter, but it's actually, it's the great way to have a lot of blanket on you with no warmth whatsoever. It's just...
I know. It's like weird, like, it's not, it's like polyester that just doesn't keep heat in or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and the only place to find those is like a Goodwill, and that's somebody else's, and it's been around that long, and I can't handle that.
Exactly, yeah.
I can't handle sheets.
It's
like
so
that.
funny that those are, I can't either, but that those are so distinct. It's like they reached a year. It's like we entered a new millennium and they realized that it's like child abuse to have like a 1 thread count sheet set.
Yeah.
But that was a great $20 purchase. And then the other one I remember that was a great $20 purchase was my first Tamagotchi.
That's a good one.
Yep. $20 on the dot.
So when they're going into the magic store, Jimmy O. James is on the way out.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, Jimmy, we found your dummy. You should take him." And he's just like, "Fucking lose him. Throw him in the trash. You don't want him.
Yeah.
He's evil."
Yeah.
Then they turn around and they're like, "Oh, okay, he's gone." Then they go inside and they buy, in quotes, an all squirting act.
Dave, I'm so glad you brought this up. I mean, I won't go through it now. It's in my good writing, but
yeah, me too. They're like, "What do little kids like squirting?"
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
A lot of squirt talk on this page.
Yeah. This is it like New Year's for like some, I imagine the owners of Barstool Sports would have an all squirting themed party.
I think that was a 90s episode of Howard Stern. He had an all squirting episode.
Yeah. It's like the fucking fountains in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Howard Stern famously having an audio medium that had naked ladies on it. Very cool. Very cool.
And he got famous for it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
People were just like, "Oh, I thought I heard a nipple."
Yeah. Well, boy, yoing. Anyway. Yeah. A lot of squirting going on. It's like RL wrote that for us. And they get all this stuff, and I don't know what happens between that and the first party they do, where they come
home. They come home and Slappy is reaching into the lizard tank.
Oh yeah, the lizard stuff.
The top is off, and it's shattered.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like, "What the fuck?" And they all go crazy, the whole family, looking for the lizard, and it turns out it's in Slappy's mouth.
Yeah, so we'll get whoever's updating the Slappy Wikipedia, let's get a list of shit that's been in his mouth, because we're getting up there. This dude's had like a full rotting sandwich with maggots, a lizard, a little like yucky tongue, probably cigarettes. He looks like a smoker. What else, Dave?
My dick. Your
Dave's dick. My dick. My little ass.
So
some gummy bears, some gummy worms. Go ahead.
Some gummy bears. So she hates. Obviously, we know Jillian hates this fucking doll. She like jam slams its face. She gives it like a stunner into some mac and cheese.
That's right. Yeah.
And then because the parents are like, obviously you did this lizard prank, Jillian got to put Mary Ellen up into the top shelf of their closet.
Yeah.
And it gets kind of weird because they're like, "Mary Ellen's not going to like this. Please help us."
Yeah, the girls
like, "You'll be sorry."
They're concerned. Yeah, for sure.
But that's part of the fear too. Because the kids are afraid of Mary Ellen, but only talk to Mary Ellen. It's got like a real weird children in horror movie feel.
Yeah.
Which surprisingly Goosebumps has lacked, being children's horror books this whole time. Where they're like, "Oh, these are very little kids talking to an inanimate object and being like, please don't." Like, there's a fear there that's Yeah.
My number one fear, I don't think I'm going to have kids, but if I did and they started like, my number one fear would be if they like develop an imaginary friend or like they say like they start to personify a doll or whatever, or like make it, is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Like that's, I can't go there.
Yeah. That's so clown act.
Yes, we get to the clown act, which is, I don't mean to tip my hand here, but I think that's the most terrifying part of this book is like how embarrassing it is.
Also for Harrison, because Harrison's like, she's like, we're going to be clowns. And he's like, I don't fucking want to do that.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're going to make $30. And he's like, sounds good. Like,
yeah, for sure.
He just wants the money.
Yeah, but it sucks. They suck.
Oh, yeah. They're not good.
They're not good at the
I'd
execution.
even say they're bad.
Yeah, and like the kids don't even really want a good clown act, and then they get a bad clown act, and it goes as expected. They try to squirt their little squirters.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Dave?
I was going to say, like, they try to do all this squirting, which is weird because, like, they forgot to fill up their squirting playing cards, which, first of all, doesn't make sense. Second of all,
I don't get it.
They were going to smash pies into their own faces, but accidentally smash them into the kids' faces. And instead of, like, shaving cream... Well, no. I was going to say it would make sense if it was shaving cream, but it's soap instead of whipped cream.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to think Slappy just lathered up so much that he made pies out of it.
Yes. But I think one of the things is... yeah, it says, I thought it said it could be, they're like, it could be soap or shaving cream. Yeah. It says, Harrison took a tiny taste. That's funny. I didn't catch that the first time. It's soap, he declared, making a face. Shaving cream or some kind of soap. No wonder it burned their eyes. So, like, I don't get, I mean, yeah, I guess if it gets in your eye, but yeah, you're right, Dave. Like, this is something to put on your face.
Yeah. I'll put anything on my face. I don't fucking care.
Watch me, dude.
I'm not scared. Are you scared? I'm not.
No, send me something. Hey, everybody out there, send me something to put on my face.
I don't give two shits, motherfuckers. Yeah, so they go home and they didn't get paid. And I love this part where it's just like, hey, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
Let your parents know. I'll explain why over the phone.
Yeah. I think she said something like, you guys need more practice, which is a very, honestly, considering how fucking terrible they tanked, is a pretty polite way of saying that you suck ass.
It reminds me of that scene from the best movie ever.
Hot Rod?
Hot Rod. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's just like, you're a terrible stuntman. And he's like, excuse me? You're a terrible stunt. Oh, no, I heard you. It was just really mean.
It was just really mean.
That's a good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's... they go to Jimmy O. James's house.
Yeah, they've somehow found his house.
Yeah, because they go to the place and they're like, hey, we need a different dummy. Because they decide they're going to be ventriloquists, so they need two dummies.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the guy who does dummies comes here all the time. Here's his home address, children.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, way to go.
Credit
so they
card
go
number,
to his house.
Social security number.
Break into his house.
Yes.
And they find a dummy of his own head.
Yeah.
And his neighbors just walk in and they're like, hey, he left town.
Yeah.
I'm watching the house. It's just...
Bizarre.
Arlstein should have just been like, we broke in and we took his diary and left. Instead, there's this character who's just like, I am the patrolman of the neighborhood. Yeah. Hello, kids.
And it's scary that there's a head, I guess, of Jimmy O. James, but he's never revealed to be a dummy himself. I mean, unless I'm missing something.
And especially because he comes back later in the series. That's where I thought this was going. That Slappy, it was like a reverse dummy thing.
Right. He's control. Yeah, which would be scary. And that's great. But it really has no relevance.
It has none. It's just real scary to
Yeah.
me, though. I got so scared.
You know why he did it is because chapter 16 or whatever ends with they think it's Jimmy O. James's head that's on the table, and then that's the cliffhanger. And then next chapter, oh, it's just a dummy head. Anyway, moving on. It's just one of those, which is fine.
But they get the diary.
They get the diarrhea, and inside, and inside the diary, and this I like.
Huh?
You're still laughing
Sorry,
at my joke?
The diarrhea real got me. Yeah, it's like diarrhea. It just keeps coming out.
And it stinks. The diary I liked because this is a mechanism. This is some cleverness on RL's part, more than previous, where they just like meet somebody, I guess, and they reveal the curse or like whatever. They give you the whole context of everything. This time they read it from Jimmy O. James's diary, which seems like a cool like video game thing, like a hidden,
It reminded me of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
How they go into the basement and they find the book.
Yeah.
That's, of the person they're studying. And they find out that they're like, Slappy is pure evil. It is alive. He will kill you.
He's like imbued with the ghost of a sorcerer.
Yeah.
So, hey, Carl, more like, where's the sorcerer?
Yeah, Carl.
You should have read this book first. Come on.
Yeah, Carl. You should have read the book, Carl.
Ay, ay, ay.
He has a Where's the... as a treat, I gave him a Where's the Witch shirt. I ordered one for him because he
Aw.
made it.
He did.
And I was
He
like,
created it.
we're done now, so at least we need to give him the
Yeah,
shirt. So I ordered one.
absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah, so okay, here's what it says. The dummy named Slappy is the sorcerer's most evil invention. He stole a coffin for its wood. He carved the dummy from the coffin wood, and then the sorcerer sent his own evil into the dummy. The sorcerer's evil spirit lives inside Slappy, ready to be awakened by the reading of the evil words of magic the sorcerer wrote. The sorcerer's evil lives inside Slappy. And that's the Madonna Wadana Mana.
correct. The Barack Obama words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy though. They're just like the puppet maker was not a normal man. At least that's not what I heard. This is the story as it was told to me. The puppet maker was a sorcerer. He used his puppet creations for evil. His puppets and toys made people sick with strange illnesses. COVID. He built dolls that injured their owners. Toys that stole precious belongings while their owners slept. The sorcerer loved spreading misery and evil through innocent-looking toys.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like what's that movie? Puppet Master.
Yay.
But then we get the Where's My Bride scene.
Yeah. Yeah. When Jillian gets home, Slappy is there with some lipstick in his hand, and he scrawled Where's My Bride first on the mirror and then on the wall upstairs, after he also allegedly like fucks up the kitchen and like throws spaghetti into the garbage disposal and like sprays it all over the walls.
And also the Madonna paper is missing.
The Madonna paper's not there. So Jillian gets in a lot of trouble because she's also babysitting at this time, and so everything's a fucking mess. But the girls and Jillian are on the same page. Like Slappy is alive, or you think they're on the same page.
Something fucked up's going on.
Something fucked up is going on.
It's no good.
But her parents, Jillian's parents, still allow her to do this party and do the ventriloquist act. And the kid like can't do it at their house because like their parents are away like selling refrigerators in Chicago, and so they agree to have it at Jillian's house. They say in the basement, it's like a finished basement, I guess, and we're gonna have the party down there, and you can do your act, but you're still grounded. And so they have Mary Ellen, and they have a new dummy named.
Did I even fucking write it?
George Stephanopoulos.
That's the one.
Greg Proops.
That's it.
It's Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
His name is unimportant. And the parents, this is the crazy part, that they're like, hey, here's 15 6-year-olds. We're going to put you in the basement, which is mainly used for woodworking. All of us, including the child's parent, are going to be next door, most likely fucking.
Yeah.
It's a key party.
Yeah.
You take someone's keys and you fuck them. Stay here.
Heard of it?
Everything will be okay. So they go to open up the little thing, and the kids are like dummies.
Yeah, yeah.
And they open it up, and it's the wrong dummy. Slappy's down there.
Slappy's in there.
So like Slappy immediately is mean.
Yes.
Duh. That's like what he does. But then he does his puke party.
Oh, let's get right into the puke. Yeah, absolutely.
He just sprays, baby.
Yeah.
Talk about a squirt act.
This kid, yeah. Oh, there's so much squirting in this book. And
Yeah.
this is the payoff. This is the release, the squirt release, because we didn't get it before. It was faulty equipment. So this is funny too, because like there's a kid who says like, I don't like this act. And Slappy's like, oh yeah? You like this, you little piece of shit? And he just like, there's a projectile vomit that looks like SpaghettiOs. And it's like just spraying and spraying. The kids are covered and screaming. It is absolute insanity.
Some kids are vomiting in the corner.
Oh,
and that's
Dave.
usually a detail we would add to it.
Yes.
But R.L. Stein's like, kids are puking into each other's fucking dicks. Like, it's wild.
This is why this is turned up a notch, is because there's violence in the book, and as Dave just said, it says kids were trying to scramble away. Some were crying. I saw 2 boys bent over, vomiting on the floor.
And the level of intensity, like Jillian's trying to cover his mouth, and Slappy fucking just hops down onto the floor and just get a better arc to fucking blast those kids.
Yes, he's standing on his own 2 feet and he's blasting. And at the end of the chapter, after he's done barfing, he says, "This is my party now. I want my bride." So this is what we think the whole time, right? Like, as indicated by the cover, we think these dummies are together, right? Like,
he's gonna fuck the doll.
he wants to fuck the doll. And so Jillian's like, okay, like,
Imagine if the sorcerer like you kill Slappy and there's like Dad's real doll that's hidden under the coffee table.
Dad paid a lot of money for that.
But the problem with the Dad's doll is that it can only say "oh."
Not if he got the real doll. He can do whatever he wants with that. Sponsored by Real Doll. So they realize eventually, once Jillian's like, whatever, like, you want the other dummy that I don't even like, that's fine. And she's like, Harrison, give me the fucking bride. And Slappy's like, no, not the dummy. The dummy's fucking ugly. He's like, I want you. We need to fuck. I guess they're gonna. And so he's like, you're my bride. I'm horny for you. And this is not good, obviously. And here's where we come back to the slave talk, Dave, which I am always, I'd rather this is a reprint, right? We could take care of that. Can't we say servant?
Yeah.
Can't we say, I'm going to hurt you? I don't know.
Well, the bad part too is that he does hurt her. So this is edited out of the book, but in that sequence, Slappy headbutts Jillian in the face and calls it. He's just like, "Oh, that didn't hurt. It was just a love tap."
I mean, Slappy is not fucking around.
Yeah. So he's grabbing her by the wrist, and nothing can stop him.
No, nothing except Mary fucking Ellen. And
oh shit!
What?
I think she's already married.
Yeah, but you thought that was a directive? That's
Yeah.
me asking Portia de Rossi.
Yeah.
Yeah, the twins end up telling Jillian that it was Mary Ellen the whole time. Like Mary Ellen was doing all this weird shit and moving stuff and put the lizard in Slappy's mouth and wrote stuff on the wall. She did everything. And she also read the Madonna words to bring Slappy to life. And they end up getting into a fight. And frankly, Mary Ellen kicks his ass. Like, there's a moment where you think Slappy, like, disarmed her and, like, made her inanimate again. But she comes back. She turns on Dad's buzzsaw, his table saw, runs him right through. It's... some real Eli Roth kind of shit.
And I just found the part. So before that, they fight for a while. Mm-hmm. In the reprint, to get like Mary Ellen off of him, he just does like a magic trick, and it says like it looks like he's turning off a switch, and she just falls asleep.
Yes.
In the original book, she says, she turned to Slappy. Right, my darling? Am I right? No way, Slappy cried. No way. He slid his arm back and swung his fist into her jaw. The wooden fist hit the doll's head with a loud thump. Mary Ellen uttered a shocked groan and crumpled to the floor. Oh. I will rule, Slappy declared, raising both hands high above his head in victory, but not with an ugly rag doll like you. He stared down at Mary Ellen, sprawled on her back on the floor. His evil grin grew wider. Why don't you learn to say goo-goo, he snarled. Maybe someone will think you're cute. He pulled his big shoe and gave her a hard kick to the side. Someone take the baby dolly out and burp her, he declared nastily. He pulled back his foot and kicked the doll again. Mary Ellen didn't move.
Oh my God. That rules. I mean, that's decidedly better.
Yeah, it's just like... Slappy had one too many Budweisers one night, and he's just like, you're in front of the fucking game, and just brutally destroys her.
That's unsettling.
It is, and they, I guess, rightfully edited that stuff out for kids, but this book goes there. Slappy, before it's like, well, what is he gonna do? He's a little guy. In this, it's like, he will attack you and hurt you.
Right. He wants to kill you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they get sawed.
And actually, Slappy tries to run Mary Ellen through, but Mary Ellen like brings Slappy with her. So yeah, and then that's it. And when they go back home, there's something in the diary. Harrison's like reading the diary, and he says like, "Hey, by the way, Slappy doesn't necessarily die. It's like a demon possession kind of thing where it's like you could exorcise it, but it might go into you. So, you know, something to be aware of." And it's like, well, we fucking did it now. Like this would have been helpful before this. And then the book ends with Jillian like is Slappy, I guess. She like winks. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she's just like, I like slaves. And they're like, well, that's uncalled for.
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
We actually don't say stuff like that.
Yeah. Because we finished the other ones, this is really good.
I like this. I think the caliber of writing is just as good, but the story is actually better.
And it's creepier.
Yeah.
Than any of the other. This may be my favorite dummy book
I was
so far,
thinking
which
that.
is crazy.
Yeah, like the first one has a special place in my heart, but this is a good book. It's like definitely number 1 or 2.
Like the misdirection is okay because you're supposed to think like Mary Ellen read the Madonna words and brought him to life, but was staging all the other shit.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, it's a twist, but it's kind of far-fetched. Like, why is she alive? It whatever. But like the eerie scenes, especially when she's babysitting and hears the smashing downstairs and the twins can't speak because they just saw like, you know, it's fucked. But
it is, yeah. I mean, this is something I caught on TV last week, I think, was Child's Play 2, and which is a great movie. And I mean, there's a lot from this book that's like Child's Play 2. It's just like...
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like the doll moving around, doing shit, and the parents throwing it into the basement being like, it's not real. Look at it. It's just laying on the ground, not a real doll. And there's a lot of that shit. It's very Child's Play, which is, you know, this is a book for 4 to 6 graders, according to the back.
So what's good? What you like?
What's good? I think when we're introduced to Harrison, it says, I like Harrison. I like that he thinks everything's cool. It says, Harrison lives down the block. We've been best friends ever since I made him eat a whole bowl of mud in first grade. I want to know more about that. But I thought that was good because it's very funny. I think there's like a venereal disease joke in here where Jimmy says, Slappy says, can you give me a kiss? I don't think so, Jimmy replied. Why not? Slappy demanded in a tiny voice. I don't want to get splinters, Jimmy declared. The breath stuff that we read, I think, maybe in the beginning.
It's very good.
Is very good. The jokes are funny. In that upsetting Jimmy O. James performance, most people are kind of bummed out, and like the kids, they describe the girls especially, but like there are people in the crowd who are a little distraught from it. And Harrison is grinning, and he's looking around and he's going like, "This is cool," and I thought that was funny. Slappy hitting Jimmy O. James. He draws blood. I mean, those are stakes. So we've talked about that. I like the diary as a mechanism to explain the context and the background. The vomiting, we love a dummy barf scene. We've established that. It's also a callback to the first book, and it's unsettling. It's kind of fucked up. And I also thought it was extreme and funny that he included that passage I read about the kids throwing up. So, how about you?
I like that this book just hits the ground fucking running.
Yeah.
With the Mary Ellen scares.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff going on in Mary Ellen, the whole "you'll be sorry," and it's just like, I'm gonna cut off her head. Mary Ellen heard that. Katie replied, "You'll be sorry," Amanda added. Like the twins finishing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
And threats. 6-year-olds,
Creepy.
I like the Slappy descriptions, which I think we went over. They were really good. The shift to evil Slappy and the back room scene, like you just said, awesome.
Yeah.
I liked this part a lot. I gazed at Slappy folded on the table. He looked kind of cute on stage, but now I could see his crooked painted smile and cold staring eyes. Even though he smiled, his expression appeared angry, almost cruel. Great. Harrison laughed. "We'll do an all squirting act. Squirting stuff is always funny, especially to 4-year-olds," I added.
Yeah.
"We bought the squirting cards and squirting pie and a few other tricks." I could see that Harrison had a much better attitude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He started getting excited about performing at the party. You got to be excited when they're squirting. This part I loved. I glanced across the room. Kate and Amanda appeared to be having a good time. They were showing their huge collection of beanbag dolls to the other girls. Can you say a Beanie Babies?
Oh, man. Probably got that Princess Diana in there.
Probably do. She's recently smushed, so. Actually, I don't think it was out yet. They were probably still mourning.
Oh, yeah. Right. It took some time.
All right. So what fucking sucked? What was the bad?
Well, I think on page 3, I wrote, "He's going to fuck the doll." I don't know what that... I assume I meant Slappy's going to fuck...
he's going to fuck that doll.
Oh, no. You know what? This is me, and I got it wrong. At first, I thought Jillian was a boy. I thought there was a male narrator, and on page 3, the book says, "The girls are much nicer to Mary Ellen than they are to me. At night, I plan horrible things I'm going to do to that disgusting doll." And I was like, he's gonna fuck the doll. But no, Jillian does not. She would not do such a thing. Page 6, there's some lame. I mean, look, we've both had some time away from the books, so I think we're coming in with like a freshness, or I came in with like, I don't know, I had to remember that the writing is like this, and it's not always noteworthy. I don't have to make a note just because it sucks, you know? because a lot of it does. But this is like when Jillian wants to cut off Mary Ellen's head. It says, I told myself it would certainly improve her looks. And, that's when I was like, fuck this. But then it's also like, I have to remember that it's fine. It's for kids. Oh yeah, Jillian has a chip on her shoulder about ventriloquists, and it's bothersome to me because she clearly thinks that being a clown is much more dignified than being a ventriloquist, which is interesting.
The glamorous life of clowning.
Yeah, right. According to her. Oh yeah, on page 29, I made a note of this. Jimmy O. James says, "Don't worry, the dummy's not alive." When like he's caught in the act talking to the dummy. And it's like, well, that sounds like something someone with an alive dummy would say, my friend. And then
that's just being like, you walk in and you're like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. And he's like, I wasn't fucking the dummy.
Yeah, it's like, well,
I didn't say you were.
I think you brought that up, man.
Yeah.
One thing also, this isn't necessarily good or bad, but one thing I noticed about Harrison, maybe this is good because this makes me like him more, but Harrison has an ongoing bit that's not pertinent to the story at all, where he likes to get stuck in a doorway with you. It's it comes up a lot. Just wanted to note that.
I didn't really care about it, but now I kind of like it.
It's kind of cute.
Because it's kind of dumb.
He's
it's just
whoops.
He's like your puppy. He's just hanging out next to you. He's just excited about everything.
Yeah. What about you?
Just some writing that was odd. It's very normal for Goosebumps, but it really stood out because this one I feel like was written better. I shook my hand trying to shake away the pain. I had deep purple teeth marks where the dummy had bitten me. Wow, that was fierce, I declared. Examining my hand, I think I was more surprised than anything. I didn't even touch his mouth. I shook my hand some more. It was just weird for like, I was like, oh, this is an intense scene. And then it was just like, wow, perhaps it has bitten me. I should check on my hand. Like, it was just really weird. Mm-hmm. This I thought was like, either if she was like a huge fucking nerd, it would make sense. But I'm going to sneak downstairs and tie their laces into huge knots, I decided. I snickered again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a really good knot tier. I plan to tie so many knots, they'd never get them loose. Right. They'd have to cut the laces off with a pair of scissors. I was like,
yeah. And she goes like, she says, I know, it's lame, but what do you want me to do?
Yeah. Hey, forget about it. Yeah, and then this one, it's like, this was just a weird way to say it, because it's something that kids would say. They said, we could remove the doll's head, Harrison continued. He made twisting motions with both hands, and fill it full of worms, then sew it back. It's just a lot of like...
a lot of things that don't work together.
It's just strange. This was like... One thing that pissed me off, and I don't know if it was a joke or not, all the jokes that they make as clowns are jokes that would go over the heads of 6-year-olds. Not only that, would go over the heads of teens at this point.
Yeah.
Not only that, would go over the heads of like 20-somethings at that time.
Yeah.
When he says, you're a bad card player, Zappy, I said, dealing him cards. When it comes to cards, you're all wet. I squeezed the pump hidden in the thing. The cards didn't squirt. Yeah. Like, it's literally the roast of Bob Saget.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even
R.I.P.
It's more like Don Rickles would say that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or like Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah. Mama's going to let me do the party, I told him. Mr. Simpkins called. Her little boy is the birthday boy. Period. But she had a flood in her basement. Period. So we're having the party at my house. Period. Down in the basement. Period.
Yeah.
Like that sentence literally says, like, Mom's letting me do the party. Miss Simpkin called. Her basement's flooded, so she can't have her son's birthday. So we're having it in our basement.
Yeah.
Good. It's just like, her boy is the birthday boy. Her basement is flooded. Our basement is where the party will be.
Yeah.
In the basement. Fuck you. All right. Top spook and scare.
My man.
Let me have it.
The top spook is, I mentioned before, I legit wrote the embarrassment, the bombing that they do on page 65, that performance. And it just... it's not like in a funny way. It's described in such a way where you're like, it's for kids, but it's also the parents are looking on and they are fucking up. They're not doing a good job at all. And it's just the embarrassment. I was sensitive to that. How about you?
Any young adult that aspires to be a clown.
Yeah. So kind of same.
Like if you're a 6-year-old and you're like, I want to be a clown. But when you're like at the point where you're learning things and going to middle school and you're like, yeah, clowning, please.
Yeah.
Like, all right. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Best dressed.
It's like a tie between the lizard and the temporary doll that they have that Slappy replaces with himself, because that doll seemed very like folksy.
He was my second pick. Moxie.
Is that
what's his name?
That's his name.
Yeah. This is the sentence. Moxie was a goofy-looking, buck-toothed dummy.
Yeah.
Harrison had found in his uncle's attic.
Cool. I trust Harrison.
Yeah. I trust Harrison too, because my best dressed is Harrison's big dick.
Oh yeah, baby.
Because you just know he's got a big honking cock.
When
you read these sentences.
That guy's
Harrison was just walking up the driveway. He's very big. Very big. That's big with 3 eyes. Big head, big chest, big, muscular arms and legs. He had a round face, dark, serious eyes, and short, dark hair. And a giant fucking dick.
That guy's got a pipe. He's packing.
I mean, I would think everything's cool too if I'm packing heat.
That's true. That's true.
All right, alt title.
The alt title I wrote, Squirtfest 98. How about you?
Return of the Living Dummy again. Slappy gets wood.
That's great. I love it. Where's the witch?
There's a sorcerer.
There's a
He's in
sorcerer. Right?
Slappy.
That's what I would say.
That's it.
Most luscious liquor, I would say Petey, because he's doing it on page 1.
If you're luscious, you got to show people, and right up front, you give us the goods.
Yeah, and Petey doesn't disappoint. And I'm thrilled to bring back Brian. Where's my pube? Please let me know. You can do this. I might end up seeing Brian this weekend, and so Brian, you can let me know in person. If you don't, I'll know you haven't listened to this, which will get you in trouble with me, and I'll be very mad. And
well, who knows when we're even putting this out?
That's true. That's true. So either way, text, email, FaceTime. You could do a message in a bottle. What are some other ways? Carrier pigeon, Morse code.
Boost Mobile, the whole city's behind
Boost
us.
Mobile.
What was that thing where you can be like, "Doo-doo, where you at?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like a beeper kind of a thing.
Yeah. BlackBerry Messenger.
Walkie-talkie.
Yak back.
I could fly in a plane and you could spell it out with sticks on an island.
Oh, skywriting. That's another
Skywriting.
plane-based one.
Yeah. Any of those, just let me know. And what else do we do on this show, Dave? I think that's it, right?
Is it? I was trying to think. I was like, I feel like there's way too many things.
There's a lot of things that we do.
Yeah, there's so many things. But one thing I would love to do is wish everybody a happy Halloween.
Hey, happy Halloween. I hope you're having some safe fun out there. And you're dressing up as something cool, I guess.
Act safe. And then make sure that you have a squirt act.
That's right.
I wish everyone a good squirt act for Halloween.
If you're a squirting clown, please leave a comment below. And direct us to a photo of your costume.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay.
And now we fade away into the...
Bye.